here because I don't want it to get cut off or anything. Welcome to my abode. So I have my notes here and I'm just going to jump on in. Here are my notes. Whew. And I want to talk about the 21 ways that YouTube has changed my life with under 100 subscribers. So let me pop these in. Hopefully, we stay connected for the live. And let's go. All right. So these are the 21 ways that YouTube changed my life in just 30 days with under 100 subscribers. So while this channel was started in January of this year, and I put a few videos here and there. I had mostly been using this channel as storage for my client calls, right? Because like we would talk for like 3, 4 hours. Where else can you store videos that long? And so I was storing them there. But um, and God had been telling me to show up, right? It's been an edict for a few years now. And every time it was like, God, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about. Right? Like, I'm so uninteresting. I'm so boring. My life's not amazing. Well, my life went from good to like, what the hell just happened over the last 2 years? And so it took me a year to get out of, I won't say depression, to get out of the grief. I had been in grief for over a year about the life that I had lost. And a lot of it was material, but some of it just wasn't. And I think a lot of us have gone through that in the last 2 to 3 years, especially a lot of people over there like 23, 24, 2023, 2024. And I call it the great stripping, right? And I call it that due to the fact that a lot of us who have messages, who have missions, who have been charged by God to show up and to help change other people's lives, who have calling over our lives that isn't about necessarily chasing money or chasing clout or, those types of things. Like, we're not the people who can show up on YouTube and teach you about how to use YouTube or show up on YouTube and teach you about how to do drop shipping and digital products and blah, blah, blah. Right. So, like, we could teach it, we just don't want to. Like, that's not our mission, our aim. Well, a lot of us, we've been hiding because we keep waiting. We keep playing double dutch with our purpose. That's what I like to call it. I don't know if you guys have ever, like, on a PE field or something like that, ever played double dutch or ever like had somebody twisting the ropes. And for those of you who don't know what double dutch is jump roping. And so, like, you have a person on each end of the rope, and each person has two ends, and they're like windmilling, right? And so basically, there are two ropes going at one time, and you have to figure out when to go in. Well, I've never been good at that. I don't even know if I've ever jumped before. I may have and got slapped by the rope, but I feel like I've never even jumped before. I know that I tried. And so, like, when you are getting ready to participate in jump in double dutch, you're waiting for the moment to jump in. Some people do that quickly, right? And you're seeing that here on YouTube that these people are going, "Ooh, opportunity. What? I can go sit in my car and do that? Y'all, I don't even have a car to do that, right? um, like, I can just sit in my car and go live. I can just take a picture real quick, and that's my thumbnail. Oh, I can type a title and it could be all lowercase and that's going to get me seen. Like, people have those opportunities to do that type of stuff. And that's great for them. It's amazing. I'm not knocking it because they're double dutching, they're jumping right in. But then there are people like myself, some, I won't say worse than myself, but who are still trying to do this thing, but not actually trying to do this thing. There are people who are sitting here like double dutching with our purpose, double dutching with our mission, double dutching with our calling, meaning we're waiting for the right time. We're waiting to see the window, because when you're windmilling, there's like this moment where, see, now I'm trying to show you and now my hands won't do it. But there's like this moment. See, there's like this moment when you're windmilling where it's like wide open, right? And so you want to jump in during one of those wide open moments of the windmill. And so that's how the ropes go. And you're supposed to do that. And so I would sit there literally with the double dutching and go like, wait, wait. And you're trying to catch the rhythm, right? So like you're trying to hear the beat of the rope against the ground, the swish in the wind. And it's like, okay, 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 jump, jump, jump. And some of us never do, right? Or some of us would jump in and get tangled up in the rope, or it just we don't get to keep going, and then we're on our fourth channel. I'm I'm really telling on myself because this is my fourth channel or fifth. Um, but so we got tangled up and it wasn't perfect and it stopped or we stopped. And so it's like that. But there are the rest of you who are still sitting on the outside. You're seeing that people over 40 are getting on, over 50 are getting on, over 60, 70, and 80 are getting on YouTube. You see people shooting from their car. You see people shooting from their bedrooms. You see people just holding the camera. You see some grainy cameras. You see some dirty lenses because people don't know to clean out their lens. You hear some muffled sounds with their sound, their headphones. And so you see these type of things happening, right? And you're still like, wait, 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 wait. Okay. So I wanted to do this particular video simply because one, there's a trend of the video going on that YouTube changed my life. I got monetized in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I'm not saying that because I can't say that because that's not true for me at all. I can't lie. I don't want to lie. I want to be as true, transparent, and honest and transparent, by the way. I said that wrong. Transparent, honest, authentic, real. I want to operate in integrity here on this channel because Girl Use Your Voice is about doing that. And I'm going to use my voice even if it is against the other voices that are out there, right? So, and that brings me to these points, like these first 9 or 10 points. We're going to talk about the negative stuff that YouTube has changed in my life over these last 30 days. So, as I was saying, I had this channel since January, but I got intentional with my very first video on September 25th. Today is now Halloween, so October 31st. And I've been meaning to do this video, obviously, for a week, but we're going to go ahead and do it now. So, we're going to start with the bad, and then we're going to end with the amazing things I have walked away with it. So before September 25th, I'm sorry, I just burped. I'm so sorry. Before September 25th, I'm human. I'm feeling gassy. This is what 45 is, y'all. You eat something or drink something. Like I ate, because it's what's the thing? Halloween. So I ate a piece of candy and now I'm like, oh, pretty heartburn. All right, so as I was just about to say, one, I need to put in a charger. Oh, I'll turn on the light in a second. Let me get this charger going. But the thing that I wanted to say, especially, is that I'm glad that I'm not double dutching anymore, right? I'm not double dutching. I am not uh, on the outside of the club waiting to get in. I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm giving of myself. I'm doing these things. And so we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about this in these pieces. But let's talk about the bad stuff first. And I don't think a lot of people are being honest about the bad stuff. And it's not bad stuff that's really YouTube's fault. Y'all give me a second. I'm looking for my button to turn this darn thing on. Okay. Okay, this is the light. Oh, child, I'm on a whole different cord. Okay. So the bad stuff isn't YouTube's fault. The bad stuff is our own fault, right? Because it's going to be our own perceptions, our own judgments of ourselves. Don't tell me the light will not turn on. I think this thing is getting ready to burn out. I've had it for years, and now it's not even glowing. It's just not glowing. That's cray cray, baby. But anyway, let's take this one out. Let's see if maybe it just doesn't. And I found my mic, but I can't find my receiver. Let's see. Will you be nice? It is not playing nice. All right. Well, I mean, we have a light in here. It's just not the best light. I can turn on the other light, but then I will be blinding myself. Plus, I don't know where it is. I have to clean off this bed. Anyway, why did the light go out? I think it's get. I think it is on its last leg. I've had this thing for so many years. I can't. Oh, hey, look at you. Okay, it's not in the right place, but we're not gonna argue with you. Thank you so much for giving me light. All right, let's get cracking because I don't want the Wi-Fi to start acting stupid either. So, as I said, I got my notes, so we're about to go over these things. As I was saying, it's not YouTube's fault. These bad parts. These are human fault, and for me, these are my personal fault of why this was a bad thing for me with YouTube. So here are those things. Number one, it has raised insecurities and doubts. I thought I had some doubts and I thought I had some insecurities about myself, but baby, I now know I do. I've got some insecurities, y'all. Like, I'm a person who's like, I hate my voice, or, I hate my double chin, and all these different things, right? But I think those are like normal things that a lot of women feel about themselves. But they're the other things that people really don't talk about out loud. Like, for instance, I feel like I am boring. I feel like I don't have anything to say to people sometimes. Um, that is of interest. I feel like I'll see people do some random, and I'm not talking about it here on YouTube, I'm just talking about anywhere. Like, for instance, let's say Periscope days, which was almost 10 years ago, y'all. What? But in Periscope days, I would see people like come on and folks will rush into their Periscope room and it'd be like two, three, 400 people within the first 4 minutes. And then I'll do a live and it's like, hi, and that person will bump off. Like right now, I don't even have anybody live here. And so this is something that I have to get used to, but it raises those insecurities and doubts and those triggers that I have and I have to work through of feeling like people don't want me or don't like my messaging or I'm just not interesting to people. And so those are the insecurities and doubts. Like I knew I had, but now I know I have those. Whoo, y'all. And those are some pretty big insecurities that I don't think people talk about. Is like feeling like you have nothing to say, but really feeling like you have nothing to say. Not just, oh, I don't know what to talk about. Like you really feel like you have nothing to say. Now, I will tell you, this is partially an ADHD thing because part of executive functioning is going to be metacognition. And metacognition is about the ability to see yourself. And so you probably heard the saying, if not, then it's a beautiful saying, but it's you can't read the label from inside the jar. So you, who you are, don't know how badass you are. You don't know like how amazing of a person you truly, truly are because you are in the jar. You are you. And so to you, you are normal. This is your normal stuff. This is how you act. This is how you be, right? But to other people who have their own insecurities, their own doubts, their own shortcomings, their own strengths, their own weaknesses, you are amazing, right? So, like, if you ever write out your resume, your accomplishments, big and small, you will start to see that you really are amazing. Like, you're not gone. You're still here. You're still fighting. You're still breathing. You're still living. You're still walking forward in your life, even if you feel like you're in a stuck place, right? So that's a really, really big deal. And one that I don't think we talk about enough or pay attention to enough is that we really are amazing people. Can we be even more so? Of course, especially if we aren't doing anything with our lives because we are feeling like we're stuck, as opposed to really doing that. So I want to burn through this list. So insecurities and doubts. Woo, y'all. If I thought they were under the rug, child, we swimming in them, right? And so that's the first bad thing. The second thing is a deep loathing for the word consistency. I have a video that's getting ready to come out of where I talk about consistency. I actually did a live on it. So if you click the live tab, you'll see the live for it. But I did a video that's a lot cleaner than a live stream was. And so with the word consistency, though, y'all, is that I have a deep loathing for it because one, people don't use it correctly, and two, it really doesn't work, even in the way that they're describing it. It doesn't work for who I am. So, like for instance, I just did my mother's journal for her birthday. I burned. Hold on. Okay. I burned the. All right. I burned the midnight oil literally like one night. I did not go to bed till 6:30 a.m. Right? So I had that going on in my life. And for the next 2 days, I was like, my brain was on freeze. My brain was like, I know we got stuff to do today, but what we gotta do? I don't remember. Like I had to eke out on Sunday night. I had to eke out a an audition, and then Monday, I started doing my mother's journal. And so those things burned me out, like literally. And when you have a disability, an invisible disability at that, and one that really wreaks havoc with your neurological system sometimes, what happens is you start burning your spoons and you're out of energy. And it's going to take that one day of work is going to take you 3 days to recover from. Well, if you're doing 3 days of work, that recovery is even longer. And that's where I was. But I had an audition to get in by tomorrow. But because I had landed my audition that I did this Sunday, and this is why I'm in makeup. um, I had to do today the audition instead of waiting for my usual procrastination and doing it tomorrow. Matter of fact, the role that I booked, the video was due by midnight. I turned it in at 11:58 or 9. It was 8 when I looked. I don't know if it turned to 9, but 11:58 p.m. So I'm a last minute person because that's when I get my ideas. Like it's like, oh, we can do this now. And I love the creativity, but golly, I wish I could do it earlier. So I got my audition in, and it was great. I think it's good. I laughed at it when I did it. So hey, so I have a deep loathing for the word consistency because, and this is why, because I still gaslight myself. I still tell myself that I need to be more productive. I still tell myself in my head, even if I'm sitting down vegging out because I really don't have it to give, my mind, a portion of my mind is still saying, you got a lot of work to do. You need to get up. You need to be doing this work. You need to be consistent. You need to be editing the video. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. So, like I said, it's not YouTube's fault that I I'm having to face this and overcome this or work through this. This is me. And I guess that's the biggest part of this YouTube journey so far is that I've really had to face me. Okay. Have y'all felt that way? I'm wondering. But anyway, so let me know in the comments or the chat if you felt that way, if you understand what I mean when you're doing this work and you're having to face yourself. So, yes, now you are double dutching. You're no longer going, wait, wait, wait. Now you're jumping rope, but now you're second guessing every jump that you do. Like, do I put my feet down now? Do I turn around? No, I got to stay this way. But other people are doing all these amazing tricks, but I can only jump straight. Until you can learn how to do the amazing tricks, jump straight, like, period. Right. So that's what I'm having to learn how to do. And that is also to understand that I'm not going to be consistent in the way that people say. I don't have a team. It's just me. I'm also a mother. I have two kids who are in elementary school. I have another kid who drains me sometimes just because he needs some help. Um, and he's very combative sometimes just because, I don't know. It's a whole thing. He just needs help. And I'm still having to grapple with the fact that, and I'm gonna say it this way, but I don't mean this, but that I failed at life. And so I'm going through these things while trying to build this page, while trying to rebrand, while trying to remind myself that my circumstances do not dictate my worth. I'm still amazing, regardless. My resume still has those same accomplishments and education and everything. That didn't change because I lost everything. In fact, my resume just got better because I learned even more, right? Oh man, that hit me. Cool. The third thing on my bad list is that, oh, y'all, your girl, she jealous. She gets jealous or envious. Whichever word is not the worst, okay? Because I'm not like, ooh, I'm going to cut you. I ain't doing that. But it's like, why they got that? That type of thing. So that's definitely one of those things that I'm having to work through is figuring that particular part out. Girl, hurry up. Don't get on here. I don't want nobody to see you. But okay. No, I don't need to see my baby girl. Anyway, I love you, boo. hmm So, yeah, like having to face the fact that, ooh, your girl is jealous, like your girl gets envious. Like I was not expecting that, but it is something that I really do have to face because I'm watching people and I celebrate them. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, rah, thank God. I'm so happy for you because it's the truth. I'm so happy to see people starting to win. But there's still this little bug that goes in my head going, what about me? How much more do I have to keep losing before I start winning too? And uh, it's a reframe that has to happen because I have to go, okay, oop, I'm next. That's the reframe I'm working on is, oh, it's coming, because these people are putting in the work as well. And so there's no like skipping the line, so to speak, of blessings. You're going to get your blessings when you get your blessings. So I'm having to work through. Y'all let me know if this is something that has approached your spirit, your heart too, because this is, I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be honest and I'm gonna be authentically me. I have to live in integrity. So I'm sharing my truth, and so there is that little rear of jealousy, and it's like sit down. No, I'm happy for them. Like you literally have to tell that little evil little monster, like sit your butt down. No, we happy. Our turn is coming, but that I had to wrestle with. That I'm having to deal with, and I'm still working on. The other bad that I'm having to work on with YouTube is my impatience. Y'all, not like listen, I already knew I was an impatient person. Because one thing about ADHD people on one hand, but me especially, is I don't do slow. I don't do slow. I don't like doing slow. Slow is not my friend. I'm not into slow. Slow gets on my nerves, right? I'm not a slow person. I don't like slow. But I've had to deal with slow because growth is slow. And I did a video that you can find on my page where I talk about a message that was delivered to me, which was, are the trees jealous of the flowers? And if you know, trees grow slower than flowers. But trees have, I won't say a greater purpose, but trees have their purpose that's different than flowers. And so when God asked me, are trees jealous of the flowers? I went, oh my gosh, wait a second. Okay, so fine, I don't have pretty privilege. Okay, I'm 100 pounds overweight. Okay, I don't have pretty privilege. Um, I have a wide nose that I got from my paternal side, who did not give my mother choice. Let's put it that way. It was a violent act that conceived me. And so I'm a child born of violence. And as a stamp, I had his nose. And it bothered me for a long time. And not how I was conceived, because I didn't know that until just a few years ago. Um, but that in my family, I'm the one with this big, wide nose. And it's like, this sounds like vanity, but it's not. I have these gorgeous eyes. And like they're beautiful brown, they're deep pools of it's just gorgeous, right? I love my eyes. They're well shaped. I love them. My eyebrows, even when my eyebrows were thick, I got an eyebrow story, y'all. These ain't my natural eyebrows. They're my natural eyebrows, but they're not my natural eyebrows. Some lady messed up my waxing, and my eyebrows never came back fully. But anyway, so I'm stamped with this man's nose. My 23 chromosome guy, I have his nose. And so I know that that makes me unpretty for a lot of people because I don't have the Anglo nose. I don't have a cute button nose. I don't have, something just smaller and cuter, so to speak. I have a very, 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 very much so um, different nose from my whole family. So I know I don't have the pretty privilege of that. And it's those like three different things in a way. Is like for some people it's my skin color. And that's their problem because I love my skin color. Let me not go any further without saying that. I love being me. I really do. I love everything about my skin color. Like it is a beautiful bronze, like I'm like burnt sienna, one of my favorite crayon colors. I love my skin color. But for some people, to them, that makes me not a member of the pretty privileged family, you know? So from those two things of being 100 pounds overweight to having this very distinct nose to my skin color may make other people not count me in the pretty privilege camp. That's their problem, one. But two, I have to understand that it still is a reality for people. So there are people who are quote unquote pretty who are growing on different platforms, not just YouTube, but on different platforms. They're growing like this because they have that pretty. And it's aesthetically pleasing to people on their phone. And so you have to, or let me speak on me, I have to accept that. So so there's that part, but it still makes me impatient, right? Because the twin of jealousy and envy, what I just talked about, the twin of jealousy and envy is comparison. And comparison is feeding my impatience. Because, like, for instance, I felt it last night watching somebody who I'm very happy for her. I'm like, that's amazing. I'm so glad this is happening for you. This is helping you, whatever because I'm like seriously 99% joyful for everybody who's doing it. It's just that ugly little monster that rears up every now and again. Yes, hurry up. Move it, move it, move it. Hurry up. Anyway, so it's that 1% part, right? That just like that you have to be like, sit down. Sit down. I don't need no jealousy. I don't need no comparison. I don't need none of that. Sit down. I'm happy for them. And I mean that. Right? So comparing myself and comparing my journey, like I said, I was watching the woman last night and she's like, I started on September 23rd. And I'm like, I started on September 25th. And she's like, within 30 days, less than 30 days, I was monetized. And I was like, I tripled my followers. I tripled my subscribers, you know? Um, and she's like, in a week I had all my watch hours. I'm like, good for you, And it's not because she was bragging, because she's teaching people how to do things. It's the perception through which I was filtering it. So, are y'all honest with yourselves this way? as we are getting ready to grow and do our own thing, because I know from average that YouTube takes 2 to 3 to 5 to 6, whatever years for people to get monetized. The fact that we're having a season of people quickly growing and whatnot is just because of timing. Is just because of timing, and then the other factors that are there, and also what people speak on. I don't speak on how to grow your YouTube. I'm not going to tell you that because I'm learning how to do this myself. Now, starting tomorrow, I'll be teaching people on storytelling and on like how to tell their stories and all these different things that I know that are my wheelhouse because I am a brand storyteller. Like I've been doing this for a while. I have published multiple books. Oh no, she got her hours. She really did. Like she's not capping. Like she for real did. But again, that was on her, and um it happened. But that's cool. But so she's not capping is what I'm saying. But like I was saying, like I I do stories. I know how to do stories. That's what I do. I that's what I do. I'm just so good at it. Like I really am with helping other people. I'm learning how to help myself. So, all right. So let me run down real quick because we got like three more bad things for what YouTube has changed in my life, and then we're gonna move on to the good stuff, right? Because I don't like to end on bad things. So far we talked about insecurities and doubts, how it raised them and solidified some of them, the deep loathing of the word consistency, how I had to own that I will not continue to gaslight myself with that word. Jealousy or envy, whichever is the lesser of the two, because I ain't trying to be evil. I'm just saying, like, I feel the little rare monster. It's twin comparison, like looking at other people's journeys and like, why not me? But I have to reframe that to, oh, my time is coming. And then impatience, because it's like, okay, if they're monetized in 30 days, and several people have been, when am I going to get monetized? I've been on here for 30 days. Like, I tripled my subscriber count and I had to, like, and I'll talk about that in the good part, but I really had to reframe that. Like, I tripled my subscriber count, like, in 30 days. Oh my God. Can I do that in the next 30 days? Can I triple that? And that would be exponential growth and that would be amazing. Um, and so the last things, oh, and then because of the jealousy envy monster, because of comparison, because of impatience, I got caught up in the analytics. I was staring at the analytics like, why aren't people watching my videos? I only have 9 views on this video and it's been out for 2 weeks. I only have 20 views on this video and it's been out for 2 weeks. These people are jumping on and they have 400 views in 4 hours. And so that impatience, but led to getting caught up in the analytics. And I knew going in that I was not supposed to be looking at my analytics. I knew going in that I told myself I will only look at my analytics once a month because I know how easily triggered I am at this moment, at the beginning, because I don't want to talk myself out of continuing. And so I knew that I did not want to look at my analytics every single day, and yet I still got caught up in it in these 30 days. And so, um, in these next 30 days, as I do my November challenge, as I show up with doing my lives and teaching people, I'm not going to be looking at my analytics. I'm not going to open the YouTube studio at all whatsoever. I will deal with that at the end of the month, right? At the end of that November challenge, because I want to see how successful that challenge was. So I'm going to look at them today because this is the last day of October. But then from November to November 31st, I'm not looking at them again. I can't help seeing how many subscribers I have because when you open it, you see it. But the rest of those analytics, like trying to like analyze them, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I refuse. And so what that led to then was me judging myself. So again, I was all the things that I had internalized growing up through my traumas and through different things, I was saying it to myself again. Oh, nobody's finding you interesting. Oh, you must be boring. Oh, you don't know what to do. Oh, your thumbnails are ugly. Like whatever. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm talking to myself this way. I've got to stop. Right. So it's like, well, this is the best I can do right now. Until I can hire somebody, this is what they get. Like, this is what they're getting and that's going to have to be enough right now. Um And I have to understand that right now is not forever. That's a huge thing. And we'll talk about that. But right now is not forever. And again, so the twin of me judging myself then becomes perfectionism. And I wrestle with that all the time. I'm a perfectionist on everything I do, and except cleaning. I cannot. I hate cleaning just because it's a process that just keeps going. You know, you clean something and then somebody puts it down, it's no longer clean. I hate that. But perfectionism is that thing that I have to always fight. And so that brings me to the final thing is wrestling with my flesh. The whole point of me coming onto YouTube with the intentionality over these last 30 days and however long I here to continue to be here, it was never about my desires of monetization. I might have allowed that to come up, but that's not why I'm here. Um, and that's the perfect segue into the good things that I got in these 30 days of being on YouTube because I got reminded of that. I got reminded that I'm not here chasing money. I've never been a money chaser because the one time I did, I ended up in a job that gave me an ulcer within a couple of months at the age of 25. Like I was developing IBS. I had to go to a gastroenterologist. I had camera shoved down my throat, like everything after being at this place for just 3 months. And it cost me. It cost me because I went after it because it was giving me double my salary and it cost me my health. And so I've learned that money chasing is not. Let's go through because I didn't realize we're still going this long. Oh boy. All right. So again, I want to talk about the good things. And again, the biggest part of it is that I don't chase money. I don't chase money. I am abundant. I am anointed. I am assigned. I am all of those things. I don't need to chase money. And that is the biggest reminder that I had to have is because I got swept up again with all those bad things because it was like, oh, I need to get on a road to monetization. And one of the things that I wrestled with that is if I start talking about monetization, if I start talking about my path, my road to monetization, am I going to be stuck talking about YouTube on my channel? That's not what my channel was created for. And so that's, I think, another reason why I just didn't do it is because my spirit was like, that's not what we're trying to do. All right, so let's talk about these good things. Okay? Now, these good things outweigh the bad. Okay? There are more good than bad. The good starts here. The bad looks like it weighs more, but there's good. Okay? So, whew, being exposed to all these shadows was a good thing because if I did not know they were there, like 100%, and then what different faces they wore, because again, jealousy, comparison, impatience, and judging myself, all those were a four-headed monster. Like they were four heads of the same beast in which it was being fed by my insecurities and my doubt. So I wrote down here that you can't fix what you won't face. So the other side to that is if you won't fix it because you won't face it, you will be probably killed by it. And I don't mean like in death way, but I mean like overrun, overwhelmed, drowning in it. Like whatever you won't fix, what you won't fix because you won't face it will overtake you, right? So the good thing about YouTube these last 30 days is being exposed to all these shadows and having no choice but to face them if I was going to continue to post on YouTube. Some of these shadows are not new. I've been in entrepreneurship since 2014, online entrepreneurship since 2014. These shadows are not new. I have felt them in different times and different spaces and places in my life, but to keep going, to really, and this is the next word that's coming up in my good list, to really commit to this journey, I have to face them. I have to face my giants. And like, for real, like David, all I got is some stones and a slingshot, because those are the things I can make with my hands or grab right around me. It's not something fancy that I had to purchase or whatever. And so that's how it is. I have a phone, I have a charger cord that needs to work. Don't you cut me off. Okay. I have an iffy little ring light right now. And I have just a room, which I'm grateful for. Don't get me wrong. I have a room, but it's like my whole life is in this room. And so it's messy right now. And that's on me. But what I'm saying is, I have to use what's in my hands and still show up, because I can't continue to double dutch and wait for things to get perfect and wait for the right time to jump in and blah, 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 blah. I had to take my space and jump. And yes, I can't jump on one foot and twirl, twirl, twirl and touch the ground and boogie dance in the jump rope. Right now, all I can do is just jump. But that's what I need to do, is keep jumping, right? So number one is being exposed to my shadows, because you can't fix what you won't face. Number two of the good things that I received being in my 30 days on YouTube is a renewed commitment to changing my life. Because as I said earlier in this video and several times in different videos, I've lost everything in my whole life. And for the last year, as I recovered from burnout, I was in pity of myself. Like, it I didn't like who I was, let's put it that way, because I could not figure out how to make things better. And that's not a good place. That's not a good space to be in, not mentally, but also not for your future. And one of the things I had to keep reminding myself, and that I'm reminding you of right now, is that when you still have an opportunity to take a breath, you still have an opportunity to change your life. You have an opportunity to operate in your purpose, to be purposeful, to flip the switch and be intentional. And I'm getting ahead of myself, because these are part of the things that are good and new to my life thanks to my 30 days on YouTube. And so I want to get into this really quickly. I wanted to see what this looks like. Okay. Okay, so I can't see them as I record, but I can see them for myself. All right, cool. Okay, so I just wanted to see that real quick, because this is my first time really doing YouTube lives from YouTube. All right, so number two was a renewed commitment to changing my life. So I can no longer look at my room as a cage. I can no longer look at all my things gone as losses that I can't recoup or recover. And I won't think on them too much, because there's some things that I really just can't get back, like baby pictures and stuff. But that said, what I can do is remember that I have breath. And that means I have an opportunity to keep moving forward, to keep going in purpose. Because if I had already fulfilled my purpose, I'd be gone. Why else was there more to keep living? So the fact that I'm still breathing means I still got work to do. I still have purpose. I still have a reason to show up. I still have a reason to continue being. I still have a reason to just keep continuing with my life, and to really make a difference in this world. But more importantly, before I can look at the world, I got to look at myself. And so I, as a good thing, have renewed my commitment to changing my life. And the way that that is required is for me to show up. And so that brings me to my next point, is that I had to be obedient. Because I told you, I started this channel in January under instruction from God. Was like, you need to be showing up. You're not showing up. Like, how are you going to change your life? How are you going to do anything different? How are you going to do what I asked you to do if you're not going to show up? And it wasn't just on video, y'all. Like, I have to show up and finish writing. And I hadn't been showing up for my creativity for that part of my purpose either. And so the obedience, that's part of what I picked up in these 30 days, is that obedience, while hard, is still required. And so I have learned to be obedient in the fact that I'm going to put out at least one video a week, right? And I say that, I hate to say, I say that because like it's such a phrase that people say. So it's like my brain got frozen on that part. I say that as a person who has learned through from all the gurus and stuff that consistency is to show up once a week at minimum, because you need to train the algorithm that you are an active member of the platform. So I do have at least that commitment of creating a video a week at least, right? And what I found myself doing as part of the bad part, where I got into the comparison and, the impatience and getting caught up in the analytics and all that stuff, when I was doing that, I started creating different videos than what I actually felt heard to create. Um, and at the same time, what I started creating still wasn't me in the first place, right? It was me, but it wasn't me. It was me because they're my stories, they're my thoughts, they're my ideas, but the scriptedness of those videos wasn't necessarily me. However, I do understand their purpose now, as I received that message earlier today. That purpose is for building the professional part of the platform, because I will be getting those videos re-edited so that they can live on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is 10 minutes or so. So I will be getting those re-edited for that purpose. So that said, is the obedience of showing up, right? The obedience of putting in at least a video a week is one of those things that I have learned, and I'm still learning to do, because of this reason. Obedience brings belief, okay? So obedience is the foundation of strengthening your belief in your faith. Because when you show up and do your part of the job, when you show up and you gave, and that energy comes back to you, that strengthens your belief, one, in yourself, because it means that, oh, I am a co-author of my life. I won't say you're the author of your life, because that would be God, but I am a co-author of my life. Is that when God tells me I need to be doing something, it is my job to do something. It is my job to show up and do what he's asking me to do, not just to receive the reward, but to receive the reward of my own work, my own trust. Like, you're rebuilding trust of yourself is when you to your word, you build your, that obedience part is something that I gained on YouTube of these last 30 days. Is me showing up every single week has rebuilt my own trust in myself, in my word, in my own show up game, right? And so what that means then is there's a faith flex here, because part of me showing up means that I'm growing in faith. And so my faith flex is I'm talking about God here, yes, but also I'm learning what God actually means in my life. That's a whole video on its own, because there's been a lot of growth happening over these last 30 days. Like, this is not a clickbait video. This is like the truth. I have grown and changed in these 30 days. It's freaking amazing. All right, so there's the faith flex here. And the thing, and I think of it as the muscle, the faith muscle flex. So me showing up every week, me being obedient to the word, because God said give him 60 days, I'm giving him those 60, and 30 has passed, right? But in me showing up, I'm building my faith. And I'm also showing my faith to God. Like, all right, you said give you 60. Okay, I'm showing up and I'm going to give you 60. I'm going to be my obedient self. And, well, I'm going to grow in obedience, because I wasn't obedient. Like, I'm going to grow in obedience. I'm going to show you my faith. You said 60. I'm going to believe you for 60. I'm showing up. Now, you do your job, please. And that's the other part to it, though, is that
me being a mom, me being a person who is about mission over money. Money funds the mission, but the most important part of that is mission. So mission over money. So I'm a mom. Um, is about. I lost it. Oh my gosh, my brain's going out. So okay, so faith flex, so mission over money, being a mom, and whatever. Oh yeah, so that led to my perspective shift. That's the other thing that I got out of YouTube, out of being here for 30 days so far, is a perspective shift. Because this was a good one. So I saw this video. I think it was Silver and Solo. And I know people talk about her. Oh, my butt's going to sleep. I know people talk about her as one of their things, but I had been researching a bunch of people this summer. And so the perspective shift. I used to be a teacher, y'all. I was a teacher for 15 years. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was checking my sound. I was a teacher for 15 years. I had classrooms of 30 to 35 students, 37 in some cases, 38 in some cases, some years. Um, so I had been a teacher for that long. And okay, let me speed this up because now my Wi Fi is acting funny. She had 72 people on something, like I think viewed her video. And she said at first that it bothered her, right? To have so little people. I think it was. I don't know if that's how she said it. But then she's like, if I was in a room and I had 72 people looking at me, that's a full room. And y'all, when I promise you, the perspective shift. Because my classes were full at 36 and 37 students. My classes were overflowing at 37, 38 students. And so the fact that I now have 73 subscribers as of October 31st is freaking amazing. The fact that I have people viewing some of my videos, 50, 60, I think one of them is like 120 now, views, while that may pale in comparison to other people, the perspective shift that I gained there is understanding that those are people. They're not views. They're not just metrics. They're not just analytics. They're not just KPIs, key performance indicators. Those are people. And that's literally what my mission is about the people, about reaching the people. So that perspective shift of understanding that 36 views on my video is 36 people I got to touch with my messaging or with my words. And if they only heard 2 minutes of that, thanks to, average view duration or whatever it is, they heard what they needed to hear, right? And then when I did look at analytics and I saw that it would be like 8% people made it all the way to the end. Well, shoot, 8% of 100 people is 8 people. 8 people stayed on that video until the end. That's a perspective shift that I needed because those 8 people needed the word that came through and was delivered to them that day that I was given to give. And so the next thing then, after getting a perspective shift of being on YouTube for 30 days, was gratitude. Ooh, why are my eyes singing? It was the gratitude of people giving me their time. They're not just eyeballs, they're time. And as a person who has like faced mortality more than I wanted to, right? Like I had pneumonia in 20, no, I had appendicitis in 2014, pneumonia in 2016, blood clots in my lungs in 2018, COVID before we knew what COVID was in 2020, an emergency not emergency C-section, emergency surgery because I had an abdominal blockage that was so painful it rivaled C-section. So every 2 years from 2014, I faced mortality. So I value time. I value time so, so, so much. And so for 8 people, 10 people, 17% of the people to make it to the end of my videos, I'm so grateful because they gave me their time. Like that's huge for me. Um, and to me, it's even bigger than engagement. Like I love when people talk back and they comment and do all the things, right? Like let me know that it's a two-way conversation, not a one-way conversation, not a monologue. I love when people do interact with me. However, I do understand the value of time. And then people have also pointed out to me, because a lot of people can tell me things that I've said or I've done, but they never engage with me, right? And someone told me it's like because they have to process what I'm telling them. And I'm going to say this, I don't mean in a conceited way, but I am a very prolific speaker, meaning that I get a lot of downloads, a lot of divine downloads. I pray before every time I talk. I say, God, what do you want me to tell people? And sometimes like it just be channeled, like I vibrate, and that message, yes, was for me, but it definitely hit whoever it needed to hit. So yeah, they don't always have a chance to comment because they have to process what God just used me to say to them. And that's a gift. That's an honor. And I'm even now in this moment, like really understanding that. And so the other thing that I got out of these 30 days of showing up on YouTube is that part, showing up and using my voice. One of the things that stood out when I was in the hospital in 2018 with the blood clots in my lungs, and I was in the back of that ambulance truck racing through the dark, and I remember saying to myself, like, this is not how my story ends. But when I got to that hospital and I watched a video on what pulmonary embolisms were, and I realized how I could have died and not even known anything was wrong with me, it was the angels that saved me. Like I saw 3 angels and they saved me. Um, but when I realized like how big of a moment that was, that I could have just died, like without even knowing it, it made me understand that I didn't know my own voice. In that moment, I realized I didn't know what I sounded like, y'all. I was 39 years old. My 40s have been hell, right? It has been like school on doctoral level without like the degree. Like, I'm not going to have the cap and gown by the time that I'm done with the 40s, you know? But like, it was, I don't know what the capstone's supposed to be, but it was crazy. It's been a crazy ride since October 2018, my 39th year. Um, and I brought in my 40s, but it was about like learning that I did not know my own voice. It was more than I don't like my voice. It was like, girl, what do your voice even sound like? Because part of my being ADHD or autistic is that I'm a chameleon. And so a lot of the time, I'm mimicking people, like I'm mirroring people, and I don't even realize that I'm doing it. And in doing it, I don't know who I am. And so I never really knew who I was in my young adult years. Like, I can always go, in 3rd grade, I knew who I was. In 3rd grade, but not really, because actually I was still trying to fit in 3rd grade. But for the most part, I knew that I was going to be a writer, that I knew that my signature was going to be worth something because it was going to be an autograph. Like, I knew that I was destined for greatness. It wasn't, ooh, I want to be great. It was like, no, I'm going to be. And here I am, almost 40 years later, afraid of greatness to the point where I never achieved it, right? So that's so crazy. And I had to learn my voice again, and I had to like learn it. Like, what is that? And that's what YouTube is helping me do, is show up and speak, but tell the stories that I know how to tell, the way that I know how to tell it. And also, again, to stop comparing myself to people. Like all those things in the first half of this video where I talked about all the bad things, like I can't do those things anymore. Like, and I don't mean can't like physically. I just mean like those are the things I need to take off my menu, off my list of doing. And all right, so let's get to these last 5 things, right? So the other thing that I picked up from YouTube so far, and I think if I go back and edit this video that I'm gonna put it over as B-roll, But I've had people message or comment on my videos now about how I have helped them see things differently, or how much they appreciated the fresh way that I viewed something versus what they continue to hear. Like, for instance, with ADHD, y'all, I don't understand why people feel like it is a death sentence. I don't understand why people are like, oh my God, I can't tell people I have ADHD. They're going to judge me. What? Like, to me, I guess because I was trying to get the diagnosis for so long, like 25 years. Like, they diagnosed me as depressed when I was 16. I wasn't. I had ADHD. And when I figured out when I figured out that ADHD is hereditary, because I read about it and my kids had already been diagnosed, and I was like, you know what? I'm the common denominator. Maybe I am. I still didn't know actually what ADHD was until a couple of years ago. But anyway, I tried to get evaluated, and they just kept saying depressed, anxious, and they kept giving me pills that did not work. Here's a asterisk for anybody on here who is in the medical industry and who deals with mental health. If you're giving somebody a medicine and you've tried several of them and they don't work, the diagnosis is wrong. Wrong. You do not go and create a medicine to help a medicine for a symptom that isn't a true one. Like I literally heard a commercial about, for depression medicine, resistant medicine, here's another medicine. I was like, what the freak? If I gotta take two medicines because the first one ain't working, the diagnosis is wrong. Anyway, so the thing that I've been reminded is that I'm helping other people change the way they see themselves while I'm helping me change the way I see myself. And that's huge. That is huge. That brings my heart so much joy, so much warmth. Like, I love it. So then the next thing is building community. So what I am hoping to achieve here, because I don't understand how people build a community on Instagram. I don't understand how people build a community really on like TikTok. It's like, how do you build a community on people who won't see you? Like, at least on YouTube, you get notified that your person that you want to see is on. Like, I just checked my notifications and it said, hey, this person's live. Or I posted a short and it was like, hey, she posted a short. Them other platforms don't do that. So I never understood how people built community on those platforms, or if they even knew what the word community really is. Now, Facebook does allow you to build a community, but even still, they don't show you your people. Like, they just don't. They're trying to now, but now it's too cluttered because they even show ads and stuff and notifications. It's horrible. YouTube is the only, I'm going to use this word, but YouTube is the only pure community building platform out there, because literally they care about you, one, staying on the platform, and two, bringing people to the platform with you. So now you got the community tab. I need to start using that more. You got the community tab. They let people know that you're on. They send out notifications. They send out emails. Like, they're really about, hey, come be a part of your community. And y'all, when you look in the comments and stuff, people really do support each other, and they really do like uplift each other, or like YouTube has the real possibility of community that I've been looking for, and I love it. Um, and so the other thing, flip side of the bad thing, is I'm developing patience. I am being worked on so hard on this patience thing. And so one of the things that I'm realizing is, Shaniqua, like, getting monetized in a week is not your ministry. Like, that's not going to happen for you. Getting monetized in 30 days is not, was never part of the plan. Like, that was your flesh, that was your human self wanting that to be the plan. But obviously, as we are on like day 37, that was not your plan. That was not part of your blueprint. And I've got to respect the process, really, of what it is on here. And that is to reach people, to create community, to deliver value, to use my voice and to help people change the way they see themselves. That's what I'm here to do. And so, on the flip side of patience is learning how to trust God. Because when I thought he told me to get my butt back on here, because he was telling me in July, like, get on, get on, get on. And then finally I was like, fine. I saw like Dodash, and I saw like Silver and Solo, and I saw this other 50-year-old couple, and I saw Alexis Sarah, whatever her name is. And then I saw, like, other people just showing up. And I don't care if it's over 40. Like, some of the things y'all let stop y'all, it's like, really? Oh, YouTube is for young people. Where you got that from? Where you got that from? I've been using YouTube since 2006. My very first YouTube video was Whitney Houston's I'm Your Baby Tonight, right? So where do people get that only young people can create content? What? That was ridiculous. And I'm not knocking your hangups. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why people who are older think that they can't create content when people who are older literally have the content. Like, literally have. Okay, let me put it this way. I saw people on TikTok, for instance, going, where are all the aunties? Where are the mentors? Where are the people delivering wisdom? And now, on one hand, it's like, we've been trying to tell y'all, y'all didn't want to hear because you're like, old people, you don't understand. Really? Like, we're the bridge that gaps. We're the bridge to the gap of the different generations. But it's like we've been trying to tell you. And so now this is an opportunity for you to be that person without having to go face to face with a young person. And now they can search you out. Now they can look for your wisdom. And it's their own choice as opposed to you going, that baby really shouldn't be outside. It's only a week old. Now you can say, for your safety and your health and your baby's health, the world is so full of sicknesses and they haven't yet built immunities. It would probably be best if you allowed them to become acclimated to this world that their spirits are now entering. This is new to them. And outside is so overstimulating, one. And two, it's filled with diseases that they have not yet been approached to. So maybe it would be best for you to stay in the home for a few weeks, and then also for you to close because you were literally doing the most primitive thing there is on this earth, which is giving birth. So your pores are open, as they used to say in the old days. But not only that, is like you are a veil, a vessel of things that ain't yet closed. I think you should protect yourself, and you can do videos about that, but you could back it up with like science or whatever else. And so, like I said, trusting God is the thing that I got out of this so far. And learning to understand that, one, God ain't never told me it was about monetization. That was me getting excited and wrapped up when I'm seeing people go, oh my God, I'm monetized in 30 days. Like, oh, I got 50 cents or whatever it is, right? So, I just grew my community by 1,000 people in 30 days. It's like, that's beautiful, right? But God never promised that to me. He just said, get your butt on there and start talking. This is what I want you to talk about. Okay. So now I'm learning to trust God. Other people call it trust the process. I don't know what he has me on here doing. I kind of got a glimpse this morning, which is helping me build my platform and get used to the exercise of speaking, of having something to talk about, talking about it, and then getting off 70 minutes in. But it's still learning to trust God, trust the process, trust that there is a plan and I will see it. Hindsight is 2020, but he got foresight. And that ain't even on a doctor's chart. Ooh, write that down somewhere. And so the final thing that I got from this that is just like so big and so huge is I'm learning to be all right with me. The way that I look, the way that I sound, and the things that I talk about, the things that are interesting to me, and it's all right. It's all right. And so that's one of the biggest things that I'm getting here is that I'm learning to be all right with me. And that is how my life has changed over the last 30 days. It wasn't monetization, it wasn't 1,000 true fans or any of that stuff. It was really like becoming my own fan and growing in my faith. That's it. All right. Y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. I know this was a long one, but I would love to know how you have grown on YouTube. If you have stopped, waiting to double dutch with this thing, and have you jumped in? Are you jumping in? And are you ready to actually discover and use your voice? The world is waiting. What wisdom do you have to impart? What jokes, if you're an entertainment person? Like, what have you been called to do that you have not yet done on such an international scale as YouTube? Figure that out and then jump in. All right.